Darkness, the kind that swallows sound. Marcus Kane floated in it, suspended between sleep and something worse. Then the voice came through, mechanical and cold, stripped of humanity by digital distortion. Marcus Kane, December 14th, Aspen Highlands Resort. Your daughter will be there. So will I. He jerked awake. 4 in the morning. The Denver safe house bedroom carried that pre-dawn silence that amplifies every heartbeat. Sweat cooled on his neck. Kane sat up, reached for the phone on the nightstand. The screen glowed. December 13th. Tomorrow. He opened his photo gallery. Riley, 13 years old, carving through powder on her snowboard last winter. Her mother, Sarah, beside her, and both laughing at something he'd said from behind the camera. The image stabbed at something in his chest. They'd be heading to Aspen today for their annual ski trip. Without him, like always. Kane typed out a message, cancel Aspen trip. His thumb hovered over send. He deleted it. Typed again, stay safe. Sent. The phone went dark. His reflection stared back from the black screen. 48 years old, lines carved deep around his eyes from squinting through rifle scopes and sun glare in places Americans weren't supposed to be. The gray at his temples had spread since leaving the Navy, since Caracas, since the decision that ended 3 lives and hollowed out his own. He set the phone down. Just a nightmare. Had to be. The voice couldn't have been real, but it had known Riley's name. 6 o'clock brought winter sunrise over the Rockies in the FBI's hostage rescue team training facility in Denver. The kill house stood like a concrete monument to controlled violence. Inside, Ethan Cross checked his rifle one last time. 26 years old, former Marine Scout sniper, 2 years with HRT. He'd earned his spot through precision that bordered on supernatural and a work ethic that exhausted everyone around him. You ready? Maya Chen appeared beside him, checking her breaching charges. 28, former Army explosive ordnance disposal, the only operator who could defuse a bomb while making it look easy. She and Ethan worked like paired gears in an old watch. Perfect synchronization, no wasted motion. Always ready, Ethan said. Question is whether Kane will let us win today. Maya smiled. He never does. Commander Marcus Kane stood in the observation room above, watching his team prepare. Bishop, the grizzled entry team leader at 35, barked orders at the younger operators. Good man, solid, the kind who'd walk through fire if you gave the order, but only if the order made sense. Today's drill, hostage rescue against an unknown enemy force. Standard scenario. What made it hard was that Kane himself would play the terrorist commander. He knew every trick his team would try because he'd taught them those tricks. The buzzer sounded, game on. Ethan moved first, ghost silent through the darkened corridors. Maya followed 3 steps back, covering angles. They'd run this building 100 times, knew every corner, every blind spot. But Kane had changed something. The air felt wrong. Contact front, Ethan whispered into his radio. Simulated gunfire erupted. Paint rounds. Blue for terrorists, red for HRT. Ethan's shoulder took a blue splatter. Kill shot. Cross is down, the range controller announced. Maya ducked back, swearing. They'd barely made it 20 feet. From hidden speakers, Kane's voice rolled through the building. You hesitated at the door, Cross, thought you heard movement. Your instinct was right, but you stepped into the fatal funnel anyway. Why? Ethan, marked dead, sat against the wall. Training said to move through quickly. Training also said trust your gut. Those 2 rules just conflicted. Which one wins? Silence. The one that keeps you breathing, Kane said. Run it again. They ran it 6 more times. Kane killed them in different ways each round. Ambush from above, rigged doorway, fake hostage with a gun. By the 7th run, the team moved like they were walking through a minefield. Slow, careful, paranoid. That's when they made it through. Debrief happened as the cold air outside. Steam rose from coffee cups. Kane stood before his team, arms crossed. What did you learn? Bishop spoke first. That you're a devious bastard, sir. Small smiles around the group. Specifics, Kane pressed. Maya raised her hand. You made us overthink. Every success we had, you punished. So we started expecting punishment. Slowed us down. Exactly. Terror isn't about the bomb that goes off. It's about the 10 bombs that might go off. It's psychological. Today you faced an enemy who knew you, who predicted you. How did that feel? Ethan met Kane's eyes, like fighting a ghost. Good, because that's what real operators face. Someone who studied them, knows their patterns, uses their training against them. Kane paused. Remember this feeling. The day you need it, you'll know. His phone rang. The tone he'd assigned to FBI dispatch. Kane stepped away, answered. Kane, Commander, this is SAC Thornton. We have a developing situation. Aspen Police requesting HRT consultation. Possible hostage scenario at Aspen Highlands Resort. The world tilted. Kane's hand tightened on the phone. Details. Resort went dark 20 minutes ago. 85 guests, possibly more. Armed individuals reported on property. Local SWAT is staging, but they want federal assets. Can you roll? My daughter is there. Silence on the line. Then carefully. Say again. My daughter Riley. She and my ex-wife are staying at that resort. They arrived yesterday. More silence. Thornton processing the implications. Kane, you know protocol. Family involvement means you're off the response. With respect, sir, you need me on this. I need you objective. You can't be objective with family on the X. Kane looked at his team. They'd stopped talking, watching him, reading his body language the way he'd taught them. Sir, I'm the best you have. You know it. Let me do my job. Thornton exhaled. Get your team rolling. But Kane, you follow orders. Any sign you're compromised, I'm pulling you. Clear? Clear. Kane ended the call, turned to face questioning looks. Gear up. We have a situation in Aspen. Hostage scenario. The team moved immediately. Questions could wait. Ethan fell into step beside Kane as they headed for the armory. Sir, is everything okay? No, but we don't have a time for not okay. We have a job. Is it your family? Kane stopped. Met Ethan's eyes. The kid deserved truth. Riley's in that resort. So yeah, it's personal. Ethan's jaw set. Then we bring her home. We bring everyone home. She doesn't get priority because she's mine. Understood? Yes, sir. But they both knew that was a lie. The Blackhawks cut through mountain air 90 minutes later. Kane sat silent, staring at nothing. His go bag between his boots, rifle across his lap. The familiar weight of body armor, the tight embrace of the tactical harness. He'd worn this uniform in 12 countries, saved 43 lives, lost 4. The 4 haunted him more than the 43 comforted him. Maya sat across the vibrating cabin, watching Kane. She'd worked under him long enough to read the signs. The jaw muscle that flexed every 30 seconds. The way his fingers drummed against his thigh. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Repeat. Combat stress indicators. He was controlling it, but barely. Commander, she said over the headset. Whatever happens down there, we've got your back. Kane nodded, didn't trust his voice. Bishop's voice crackled through. 2 minutes out. Local SWAT has perimeter. No shots fired yet. Hostage takers are communicating via satellite phone only. They've asked for you by name. That detail sliced through Kane's focus. They asked for me specifically? Affirmative, quote, bring us Commander Marcus Kane, no one else, end quote. The helicopter banked. Through the window, Aspen Highlands Resort spread below. Luxury lodge, 3 stories, wraparound decks, surrounded by snow and mountains and beauty that didn't care about the violence growing inside those walls. 4 figures on the roof, armed, positioned at corners like they'd read the same tactical manual Kane taught from. 4 shooters visible, Kane said into his radio. Rooftop positions, professional spacing. Local PD only spotted 3, Bishop replied. The 4th is better trained. He shifted position when we banked, checking our angle. These aren't amateurs. The helicopters landed a quarter-mile out. The team poured out, moving to the staging area where local SWAT had established command. Colorado State Police, FBI field agents, Park County Sheriff. Everyone looking at Kane like he held answers he didn't have. Special agent in charge, Thornton met him first. 50s, sharp eyes, 20 years in the Bureau. Good agent, better politician. Kane, status? 4 confirmed shooters, possibly more inside. They know tactical positioning. They've done this before. Any movement? Negative, they're waiting for something. For you? Kane didn't respond. He moved to the command table, studied the resort blueprints spread across it. 3 floors, multiple entry points. Too many windows, nightmare scenario for assault. The satellite phone on the table rang. Everyone froze. Thornton reached for it. Kane's hands shot out, stopped him. They asked for me. Thornton hesitated, then nodded. Kane lifted the phone. This is Commander Kane. The voice that answered carried no emotion, no accent, digitally altered into something inhuman. Commander Kane, it's been a long time. Who is this? You can call me Prophet. We haven't met, not face to face, but I know you, Marcus. Know you better than you know yourself. Kane's team gathered closer, listening through the speaker. What do you want? What everyone wants. Justice, closure, truth. A pause. Would you like proof of life for the hostages? Yes. The phone clicked. Video feed activated. The command post laptop screen flared to life, receiving the stream. 85 people sat on the floor of the main lodge, hands bound with zip ties. Some crying, most silent, shocked. Kane's eyes scanned faces, searching. There, third row, Riley Kane, 13 years old, dark hair pulled back, duct tape across her mouth. Her eyes found the camera, found her father somehow. She didn't cry, didn't panic. She sat straight, chin up, exactly like he'd taught her when she was 6 years old and asked what to do if monsters came. You show them you're not afraid, he'd told her. Even if you are, especially if you are. She wasn't showing fear now. Beside her, Sarah, his ex-wife, 39 years old. The woman who'd loved him until Caracas broke something in him he couldn't fix. She looked at the camera too. Her expression said everything. You did this. Your past did this. Fix it. Prophet's voice returned. As you can see, everyone is alive, unharmed. I intend to keep it that way, assuming you cooperate. What are your demands? Just one, you, inside this building. Alone, no weapons, no vest, no radio. You have 1 hour. Thornton shook his head violently. Mouthed the word no. And if I refuse, Kane asked, then I begin executing hostages. One every 10 minutes. I won't start with Riley. She's special. She goes last. I want you to watch the others die first, knowing you could have prevented it. The line went silent, but didn't disconnect. Prophet was waiting. Kane looked at his team, at Thornton, at the blueprints. Every tactical bone in his body screamed trap, but every father's instinct screamed louder. I need time to consider. You have 58 minutes. The clock started when you answered this call. The line cut. Thornton moved immediately. Absolutely not. You're not walking in there. It's suicide. He'll kill them. Maybe, maybe not. Could be a bluff. You willing to bet 85 lives on that? I'm willing to bet 1 life. Yours, which is what he wants. Kane, this is personal. Someone from your past. SEAL teams? CIA? Who would do this? Kane's mind raced through faces, missions, enemies made in dark places doing dark work. The list was long, too long. I don't know. Then we can't let you go in blind. Maya stepped forward. Sir, if I may, we analyzed the voice. Heavy digital modulation, but the speech patterns underneath suggest military background. Special operations community, most likely. And the way he paused before saying your name. He's spoken to you before. Recently enough to remember your cadence. Kane closed his eyes, searched his memory. Who would know him? Know Riley? Know enough to plan this? The answer came like a knife between ribs. Caracas. 5 years ago. Venezuela. SEAL Team 6 mission. Extract American hostages from cartel compound. Simple op turned nightmare. Kane led the assault. 4 teammates with him. Briggs, Vincent, Cole, Mateo, brothers in blood and sand. Mid-operation, command pulled Kane out. Emergency extraction. Intel said cartel had targeted his family stateside. Sarah and 8-year-old Riley marked for retaliation. He had 30 minutes to decide, stay and finish the mission, or leave and protect his family. He chose family, left his team in the compound with the mission incomplete. Next day, 3 were dead, 1 missing. Declared KIA after 6 months. The missing one was Mateo, comm specialist, 24 years old. Kid from Texas with a drawl and a smile that never quit. Could Mateo have survived, been captured, held for 5 years and somehow escaped? Kane opened his eyes. I need to make a call. He walked 20 yards away, called a number he hadn't dialed in 3 years. It rang 4 times. Kane. The voice belonged to Briggs, not dead, retired, living in Montana, the team leader who'd survived Caracas. I need to ask you something about Venezuela. Silence, then. That's ancient history. Mateo's body was never recovered. They declared him KIA, assumed dead. But you never saw a body. No, but Marcus, the cartel had him. They don't take prisoners, they make examples. What if they sold him? Black site detention? Why are you asking this now? Kane looked at the resort. Because someone just took 85 hostages and asked for me by name. Someone who knows me, knows my family, someone with military training. Briggs exhaled slowly. If Mateo survived and they broke him, there's no telling what he became. SERE training only goes so far. 5 years of torture? Kane, he wouldn't be the same man. Could he do this? I don't know, maybe, if he blamed you for abandoning him. I didn't abandon him. I got orders to extract. Did you? Briggs' voice carried weight. Or did you request extraction? Kane didn't answer, because they both knew the truth. He'd requested it. Manufactured the emergency by calling in favors with intelligence assets. Created the family threat that justified his evacuation. He'd chosen family over mission, over brothers. And 3 men died because of it. Kane, Briggs said quietly, if this is Mateo, if he survived and he's doing this, you need to understand something. He's not your teammate anymore. He's your enemy, and he will kill you to make his point. I know. Then don't go in there alone. I have to. Why? Because my daughter is in there, and this time I'm not running. He ended the call, walked back to the command post. 50 minutes left. Thornton met him halfway. We have sniper positions, 4 angles. Bishop can coordinate simultaneous shots on the rooftop shooters. Gives us an opening for breach. And if they have dead man switches, remote detonators, you take out the visible shooters and the hidden ones blow the building. So what's your plan? Kane looked at the resort again. At the windows where his daughter sat with tape across her mouth and fear in her eyes, trying to be brave because Daddy taught her how. I go in, buy you time to position assets. Ethan and Maya infiltrate through the south wing. They get close to the hostages. If this goes bad, they extract Riley and as many others as possible. And you? I keep Prophet talking, figure out what he really wants. Because this isn't about ransom, it's about something else. Ethan appeared at Kane's shoulder. Sir, I can make that infiltration, but I'll need blueprints, ventilation access points, and radio silence from here. If they're monitoring frequencies, they'll hear us coming. Kane pulled out a small device. Take this, it's a one-way transmitter. You can hear me. I can't hear you. If I say the word Colorado, that's the execute signal. You blow your charges and get those people out. Don't wait for my order. Don't hesitate. Just move. Ethan took the device. What about you? I'll be fine. Sir, with respect, that's bull. You're walking into a kill box. Maybe, but I've walked into worse. Maya joined them, already checking her breach charges. Commander, the south wing has ventilation access through the equipment room. We can snake through ductwork, get above the main lodge, drop down when needed. How long to position? 40 minutes if we move now. Kane checked his watch. Do it. I'll keep Prophet occupied. They moved immediately. Professionals doing professional work. Kane watched them go, then started stripping his gear. Tactical vest first, then the thigh holster. The backup piece on his ankle, the knife in his boot. Everything that said FBI, that said operator, that said threat. He stood in jeans and a dark jacket, unarmed, vulnerable, just a father trying to save his daughter. Thornton handed him a concealed earpiece. At least take this, so we know what's happening. Kane fitted it. If he searches me, I'll ditch it. Understood, Kane? Yeah. Bring them home, all of them. Kane nodded, turned toward the resort, started walking. The snow crunched under his boots, 600 yards across open ground. He felt the sniper scopes tracking him. 4 from the resort, probably 6 from the FBI positions. 10 rifles total, all pointed at the same small patch of mountain where one man walked towards certain violence. His phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Please don't be a hero, just bring Riley home. He texted back, I will. Another text. This one from Riley's phone. Dad, I'm scared, but I trust you. I love you. His throat tightened. He typed, love you too, baby. Be brave a little longer. He reached the resort's main entrance. The door stood open, waiting. Kane stepped inside. The main lodge opened before him. Vaulted ceiling, stone fireplace, expensive furniture pushed against walls. And in the center, 85 people sitting in organized rows like a congregation waiting for a sermon about their mortality. 4 armed men stood at corners. Tactical gear, faces covered, AR-15 variants held with professional competence. They didn't point weapons at Kane. Didn't need to. He was outnumbered and outgunned, and everyone knew it. Welcome, Commander. Prophet's voice came from speakers hidden in the ceiling. Still distorted, still inhuman. Please sit. A chair waited in the room's center, isolated, spotlighted by afternoon sun through skylights. Kane sat. I appreciate your cooperation. Now, before we continue, I need to establish trust. Do you understand what that means? You want me to prove I'm following your rules. Precisely. So here's a simple test. The video screen behind Kane flickered to life. Security camera footage. His house in Denver. Riley walking to school 3 months ago. Sarah at the grocery store last week. Months of surveillance. I've been watching your family, Marcus. Preparing. learning their patterns, their routines, the coffee Sarah drinks, the route Riley takes home, everything. Kane's hands curled into fists. Don't be angry. Be impressed. This is what you taught us, isn't it? Know your enemy before engagement. Your words, from the training manual you wrote. Us is the pronoun registered. You trained under me. Very good, yes. You taught me everything I know about tactics, about patience, about how to hurt someone without ever touching them. Kane scanned the room. Riley sat 20 feet away, her eyes locked on him. Sarah beside her, tears cutting tracks through dust on her face. Now, Prophet continued, demonstration of trust. Riley, sweetheart, please stand up. Riley hesitated, then rose slowly, hands still bound. Your father came for you. Do you believe he'll save you? Riley's voice came small through the duct tape, muffled but clear enough. Yes. Good. Because he has a choice to make. Marcus, there's a knife on the table to your left. You can cut Riley free right now. Walk her out of here. No resistance. My word. Kane looked at the knife, 6 inches of steel, freedom for his daughter. But if you do, Prophet said, I detonate the device under seat 42. The camera zoomed to an elderly woman, probably 70, sitting on a chair marked with tape, terror in her eyes. And beneath the chair, visible now, a small blinking light, red LED counting down. So choose, Prophet said, your daughter or a stranger. Who lives? Every eye in the room turned to Kane. 85 people watching him decide who deserves to breathe and who deserves to die. Riley spoke through the tape. Dad, don't save her. Kane looked at his daughter, 13 years old, brave enough to trade her life for a stranger. Exactly the kind of person he tried to raise her to be, and exactly the reason this choice was impossible. This isn't about choice, Kane said to the empty air. You want to prove I'm the same man I was 5 years ago. The man who chose family over mission, over brothers. Smart, very smart. Yes, Marcus. I want to prove you haven't changed. That when pushed, you'll always choose the people you love over the people you don't know. That your honor, your duty, your oath mean nothing when measured against blood. Kane stood slowly. You're wrong. Am I? 5 years ago, I made a choice I regret every day. I chose family over mission. 3 men died. I live with that. But you know what I learned? That choice didn't save anyone. My family still suffered, still paid the price, because running from duty doesn't protect anyone. It just spreads the pain around. He walked to the knife, picked it up. Everyone tensed. Kane looked at Riley. I'm sorry, baby. He threw the knife across the room. It clattered against stone. I'm not cutting anyone free, not until everyone here goes free together. That's my choice. Riley's shoulders dropped. Relief, terror, pride, all mixed together in her young face. Prophet's laugh came cold through the speakers. Interesting. You've grown a spine since Caracas. Or maybe you're gambling, betting I won't actually kill anyone, testing me. No, I know you'll kill. The question is whether you'll kill to make a point or whether you have an actual mission objective. Because if this was just about revenge, you'd have shot me when I walked through the door. But you didn't. You want something from me, something that requires me alive and cooperative. So tell me, what do you really want? Silence. Long enough that Kane wondered if he'd miscalculated. Then, you're right, I do want something. I want you to stay here with these people. No rescue, no breach. You're going to wait for my next instruction. And if your team tries anything, if I hear helicopters or see movement or detect any tactical approach, seat 42 goes first, then 41, then 40. Do you understand? Yes. Good. Oh, and Marcus, don't try to be a hero. Heroes got my friends killed. The speakers went silent. Kane stood in the middle of the room, 85 pairs of eyes on him. His daughter 20 feet away with tape across her mouth. And somewhere in this building, a person who knew him well enough to destroy him sat watching, waiting, playing a game Kane didn't fully understand yet. But he would, because that's what operators do. They adapt. They learn. They survive. Outside, through the window, he saw Ethan moving like a shadow toward the south wing. Maya right behind him, his team in motion, following the plan. 2 hours passed like years. Prophet didn't speak again. The hostages sat in silence. Guards stood in corners. Kane remained in his chair, mind working through scenarios, escape routes, tactical options. Riley sat perfectly still. Sarah had stopped crying. The elderly woman under the bomb breathed in shallow gasps. Kane whispered to the woman. What's your name? Margaret Hollis. Margaret, I need you to stay calm. That device under your chair, it's a pressure sensor. As long as you don't stand up, don't shift your weight suddenly, it won't detonate. Can you do that? I think so. Good. I'm going to get you out of here. All of you, I promise. Sarah hissed across the distance. Don't make promises you can't keep, Marcus. He met her eyes. I kept the important ones. I came back. I'm here. 5 years too late. Better late than never. Riley's voice muffled. Mom, stop. He's trying. Sarah looked away. Kane returned his attention to the room. Counting guards, counting exits, counting seconds until Ethan and Maya reached position. 3 hours in, Prophet's voice returned. Marcus, time for your first instruction. Stand up. Walk to the window. Raise your hands above your head. Stay there for 30 minutes. If you move, Riley dies. Kane stood. Walked to the window facing the FBI command post. Raised his hands. From this position, he could see Thornton through binoculars. See Bishop coordinating sniper teams. See the entire tactical circus trying to solve an unsolvable problem. Prophet spoke again, this time to everyone. Keep watching, Director. This is what leadership looks like. Commander Kane is teaching you a lesson. 30 minutes of stillness, arms burning, shoulders screaming, but Kane didn't move. Through the window, he saw Ethan's shadow flicker across the south wing roof. Good, almost in position. When 30 minutes ended, Prophet released him. Well done, next instruction in 90 minutes. Rest. Kane sat. Riley caught his eye. She'd managed to work one hand partially free of the zip ties. Smart girl, using the time, planning her own escape. He gave her the smallest nod. Keep going. 4 hours in, the second instruction came. Marcus Kane, you will answer 3 questions truthfully. I'm monitoring your vitals. Lie and I'll know. Bluff. No sensors on him. But Prophet had studied him. Might read micro-expressions. Might know his tells. Question 1. In Caracas, did you receive orders to abandon your team? Every hostage listened. Every guard. This was public confession. Kane spoke carefully. No, I didn't receive orders to abandon them. Elaborate. I received intelligence that my family was targeted. I requested emergency extraction. Command approved my request, but the order came from me, not from them. Murmurs through the room. Kane's reputation shifted. Hero to something else. Question 2. Did you know your extraction would leave your team without air support? Yes, and you left anyway. My daughter was 8 years old. My wife was pregnant. Intel said cartel had their location. I had 30 minutes to decide. Question 3. Was the intel real? Kane closed his eyes. This was the knife. The truth that cut deeper than any blade. No, investigation later determined it was fabricated. False flag operation. Cartel wanted me off the mission. They had a source in command who fed fake intelligence. By the time I discovered the truth, my team was already dead. Riley's face. Shock. She hadn't known this story. Hadn't known her father's past carried bodies. Prophet's voice changed. Emotion bleeding through the distortion. Raw. Human. Not all dead, Marcus. The room went silent. 3 died in the compound. Vincent, Cole, Briggs made it out. But 1 was captured, tortured for 8 months in a black site prison, experimented on by the same people whose documents you were supposed to destroy. Kane's blood froze. Mateo. Close, but no. The screen behind him flickered. A figure stepped into view. Separate room, different location. The figure reached up, removed the mask. A woman, late 30s, scar running from temple to jaw. Eyes that had seen hell and brought some back. You knew me as Captain Lisa Hale, she said. Intelligence officer who briefed you that night. The one who gave you that abort order. Kane stared. Hale. The woman who'd sat across the table in Venezuela and told him his family was in danger. The woman whose intel he'd trusted. The woman who'd destroyed everything. You were the source, Kane said. You fed me the false intelligence. I was ordered to, by Shadowfall, the same network we were supposed to expose that night. They owned me, blackmailed me with photographs they shouldn't have had, forced me to sabotage the operation. But when your team died, Shadowfall burned me too, blamed me for the failure, sent me to the same black site as your medic. They wanted us to disappear. Cole, Kane whispered. Cole survived. For 6 months. Then they killed him in front of me, used his body for research, testing bioweapons on former special operations soldiers, seeing how enhanced conditioning resisted chemical agents. Riley was crying now, Sarah too. the room understanding something worse than terrorism was happening. This was revenge mixed with justice, mixed with madness. Hale continued, I escaped 2 years ago, spent that time tracking Shadowfall. They're still operating, Marcus, still experimenting on captured soldiers, still trafficking in children for labor camps tied to defense contractors. And do you know who protects them? The same FBI command structure you work for. The same government you serve. Kane's mind raced. Shadowfall. He'd heard whispers. Black operations that officially didn't exist. Contractors who answered to no oversight. Money flowing through shell corporations to fund things Congress would never approve. So here's your real mission, Hale said. In 8 hours, Shadowfall moves 40 captured children through Denver International Airport. Private terminal. Your director, Thornton, is facilitating. He'll ensure no inspection. I need you to broadcast this information. Expose them, or I start killing hostages, starting with Riley. She looked directly at the camera, at Kane. You have 8 hours to decide. Be the man who chose family again, or be the man who chooses justice. Choose carefully. The screen went dark. Kane sat frozen. Riley 20 feet away. Sarah staring at him with horror and understanding. 85 people whose lives hung on his next decision. And somewhere outside, Thornton listened. The man who supposedly protected and served. The man who maybe served something darker. Kane stood slowly, addressed the room. Listen to me, all of you. In 60 seconds, the floor beneath you is going to drop. When it does, fall through. Don't resist. My operator is below. He'll guide you to tunnels. Run. Don't look back. The hostages looked confused. The guards raised weapons. Kane looked at Riley. Colorado. She dropped flat immediately, covered her head exactly like he'd taught her. He triggered his transmitter. The word Ethan had been waiting for. Explosions rocked the south wing. Not destruction, precision demolition. Shaped charges on support columns. The floor didn't collapse randomly. It dropped in controlled sections. 12 feet into the maintenance tunnel below, where Ethan had positioned crash mats and Maya waited with a rifle. Chaos erupted. Hostages falling through gaps. Guards stumbling. Gunfire wild and panicked. Kane tackled the nearest guard, stripped his weapon in 2 moves, fired 3 shots. All leg shots. Professional. Non-lethal but incapacitating. Riley grabbed another child, pulled them toward the hole. Sarah helped 2 elderly people through. Margaret Hollis, the woman under the bomb, rolled sideways off her chair. The device clicked but didn't detonate. Pressure sensor like Kane guessed. More explosions from outside. FBI sniper teams engaging the rooftop shooters. Thornton had given the green light. Ethan's voice through the chaos. Come on, this way, move. 82 hostages dropping through. Ethan catching them. Maya providing covering fire up through the hole. Bishop's team breaching the front entrance. Kane fought his way to Riley, covered her descent. She fell into Ethan's arms below. Sarah next. Margaret Hollis. Kane was the last one standing in the rapidly emptying room. 4 guards down, 2 fled. The elderly and injured helped through by younger hostages. He looked at the camera, at Hale watching from wherever she hid. This isn't over. I'm coming for you. He dropped through the hole. The tunnel below smelled of concrete and fear. 82 people running in organized chaos. Ethan leading, Maya limping but moving. Riley ran beside Kane. They emerged at the south parking structure. Bishop's team waiting with vehicles. But as the last hostage cleared the tunnel, Thornton's voice boomed over loudspeakers. All teams, hold position. Commander Kane, you are under arrest. Obstruction of federal operation. Surrender immediately. Kane froze. Looked up at the command post. At Thornton standing with megaphone. At FBI agents surrounding the exit. And on the resort's exterior screen, news footage began playing. Breaking story. FBI Commander Marcus Kane accused of collusion with terrorists. Classified documents leaked suggesting Kane connection to Caracas disaster and possible treason. Hale's voice in his earpiece. The one Thornton had given him. She'd been listening all along. They're burning you, Marcus. Welcome to my world. You have 4 hours until that airport transport. Question is, are you willing to become what I became? A ghost operating outside the law? Or will you submit to the same system that created Shadowfall? Kane looked at Riley, safe, alive, looking at him with questions he couldn't answer. Looked at the FBI agents moving in with cuffs and rifles. Looked at Thornton, who just revealed himself as something worse than corrupt, and made his choice. The interrogation room smelled of industrial cleaner and the metallic tang of fear. Marcus Kane sat handcuffed to a steel table bolted into concrete. 6 hours in the same chair. 6 hours watching his reflection in the one-way mirror. The man staring back looked older than 48. Lines carved deeper around eyes that had seen too much. Gray spreading from temples like frost across glass. The weight of 85 saved lives somehow heavier than the weight of 3 lost ones 5 years ago. Riley was safe. That single thought kept the chaos in his mind from spilling over. Sarah had taken their daughter home under protective custody. Maya Chen was in surgery across town, pins and plates being set into her shattered leg. Ethan Cross faced administrative leave. Bishop and the team scattered to prevent any coordinated resistance to whatever came next. The door opened without courtesy of a knock. Director Thornton entered carrying a manila folder thick enough to bury a career. He set it down with the careful precision of a man who'd built cases against senators and cartel bosses. Remain standing. Let silence do the work. Interrogators learn to trust more than questions. 85 hostages rescued, Thornton finally said. 3 terrorists killed. 0 civilian casualties. By every metric, a successful operation. He opened the folder. But metrics lie sometimes. They don't capture the commander who went in alone against protocol, who had personal stakes that compromised judgment, who played exactly into the scenario a terrorist wanted. Kane kept his face neutral. Let Thornton build his narrative. The hostage taker knew you personally, targeted your daughter specifically, had detailed intelligence on classified SEAL operations from your past, and you evacuated your family the day before the attack. Convenient timing or planning. I saved those people. Did you? Or did you do exactly what Lisa Hale wanted? She gets national media attention, gets her Shadowfall conspiracy on every news network, gets you to expose me while she vanishes into the wind. Thornton pulled out surveillance photos. These came from equipment we recovered. You and Hale, 3 hours of conversation before the rescue, almost like coordination between partners. Someone's framing me. Obviously. Question is who benefits? Thornton leaned against the wall. Here's what investigators will see. Marcus Kane, disgraced SEAL who abandoned his team in Caracas. Same Kane who evacuated his family before a terrorist attack. Same Kane with offshore accounts receiving deposits from shell corporations. Same Kane whose phone records show contact with known extremist networks. Pattern of behavior. Pattern of corruption. The words landed like a body blows. Kane forced himself to breathe, to think. You already know it's fabricated. Probably. But it'll take months to prove. Meanwhile, you're the FBI commander who let a terrorist use him as a weapon, who endangered federal agents to save his daughter, who has a documented history of choosing family over mission. That last phrase cut deepest. Caracas. The choice that haunted every quiet moment. 3 brothers dead because Kane had requested emergency extraction based on intelligence about threats to his family. Intelligence that turned out to be manufactured by the same cartels they'd been hunting. Those people in that resort are alive because I put mission first this time, Kane said quietly. I chose strangers over my daughter. Watched a 13-year-old girl volunteer to die so an old woman could live. Don't lecture me about duty. Thornton's expression didn't change. Professional mask. But something flickered behind his eyes. Calculation, recalibration. Then explain the offshore account. Explain the phone records. Explain how Hale knew exactly when and where to strike. I can't explain what I don't know. Someone wants me off this investigation. Someone with access to FBI systems. Someone who benefits from Shadowfall staying hidden. The room went quiet. Just the hum of fluorescent lights and the whisper of climate control. Thornton walked to the door, paused with his hand on the handle. You're done, Kane. Suspended without pay pending investigation. Badge and weapon already collected. Security will escort you out. Don't leave the city, don't contact active personnel, and don't try to finish whatever Hale started. He opened the door, looked back one more time. For what it's worth, I think you're a good man who made bad choices. But good men don't get special treatment. Not anymore, not in this job. 2 security officers entered, uncuffed Kane from the table, recuffed his wrists in front, led him through corridors he'd walked 1,000 times as a commander, past colleagues who wouldn't meet his eyes, past the trophy case displaying his medals and commendations, past photographs of operations where he'd been the hero instead of the suspect. The December air hit cold when they pushed through the back exit, snow threatening but not yet falling. The officers deposited him at the curb without ceremony or transportation, just a disgraced operator standing alone in a government parking lot. A dark sedan pulled to the curb, civilian plates. Ethan Cross in the driver's seat. "Get in, sir." Kane didn't move. "You're on administrative leave. Being seen with me violates your terms." "I know. Get in anyway." Kane climbed into the passenger seat. Ethan pulled away before the door fully closed. They drove in silence. 5 minutes became 10. Ethan's eyes constantly checking mirrors, reading traffic patterns, looking for tails with the paranoia of an operator who'd survived ambushes by trusting his instincts. "Maya's surgery went well," Ethan said eventually. 6 hours to rebuild her lower leg, pins, plates, hardware. But she'll walk, probably even run again if she commits to physical therapy. "Good. She's asking about you. Tell her I'm fine." We both know that's a lie. Ethan merged onto the highway heading west. "Sir, I recovered something from the resort. Security footage Hale tried to delete before evacuating. She didn't finish the job." He handed Kane a thumb drive. "What's on it?" "Thornton, 2 weeks ago, meeting with one of Hale's people in the resort parking lot, exchanging documents. I don't know what was in the envelope, but I know my commander isn't a traitor, which means someone else is." Kane turned the small device over in his fingers. Evidence, proof, maybe redemption, or maybe another layer in whatever game Hale had been playing. "Where are we going?" "Bishop's cabin, personal property in the mountains. No official records connecting him to it. Thornton can't track you there." Ethan glanced over, professional, mask slipping, young face showing the weight of impossible choices. "Sir, permission to speak freely?" "Granted." "Hale's message about the airport, about Shadowfall moving children tonight through Denver International. Do you believe her?" Kane thought about the woman who'd betrayed him in Caracas, who'd fed him false intelligence that got 3 SEALs killed, who'd spent years in black site detention being tortured for crimes committed under duress, who'd orchestrated an elaborate hostage scenario using his daughter as the pressure point. Calculating, ruthless, broken by the same system that had broken him. But her story about Cole rang true. Her rage about Shadowfall felt genuine. Her willingness to risk everything to expose them matched the desperation of someone who'd lost everything already. "Yeah, I believe her." "Then we have 4 hours to stop it. 3 of us, no backup, no authority, no rules of engagement." Kane looked at the Marine beside him, 26 years old, entire career ahead of him, throwing it away to help a disgraced commander chase ghosts through airport tunnels. "This ends your career, you understand that?" Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel, knuckles white. "I joined the Marines because I believed in protecting people. Joined at HRT for the same reason. If the organization I serve protects traffickers instead of stops them, then the organization is wrong. Not me, not you, them." They drove the rest of the way, yet in silence. The cabin appeared through pine trees after an hour. Isolated, dark. Bishop waiting on the porch with a rifle across his lap. He stood as they parked, no smile, just the grim acknowledgement of operators committing to a mission outside sanction. "Figured you'd show eventually," Bishop said. "Maya called from the hospital, told me what you'd need." Inside smelled of wood smoke and gun oil, maps spread across a table, equipment staged along one wall, communications gear, tactical loadout. Everything pulled from evidence before Thornton could lock it down. "I got manifests," Bishop explained, pointing at documents. "Flight schedules, cargo routing, private charter leaving Denver International at 00:0300. Gulfstream registered to a shell corporation that traces back to Shadowfall fronts. Manifest lists medical supplies, but the weight distribution's wrong. Too heavy, too irregular." Kane studied the numbers with an eye trained on logistics across 3 continents. The discrepancies jumped out immediately. "Human cargo, how many?" 30 to 50 based on calculations. All minors based on dimensional requirements of the listed crates. 50 children, being shipped like medical equipment to destinations unknown. Kane's hands clenched hard enough that knuckles cracked. "What's our window?" Bishop checked his watch, military precision. 2 hours before pushback, maybe less if they accelerate the schedule because of the resort incident. Thornton will have extra security on the cargo, making sure nothing interrupts the shipment. Then we interrupt anyway. Ethan stepping forward, and "Sir, 3 of us against airport security, private contractors, and corrupt federal agents. We need a solid plan." Kane walked to the map table. Denver International spread before him in detailed schematics. 5 commercial concourses handling thousands of passengers daily. Then the private aviation section, isolated, controlled access, designed to move VIPs and sensitive cargo without public oversight. Also designed with the same infrastructure every major facility required. Maintenance tunnels, service access corridors, utility conduits. The underground network civilians never saw. "We don't assault this plane," Kane said, finger tracing routes on the map. "We document everything. Photos, video, witnesses if we can get them. Then we broadcast it all, make it too public to bury, too widespread to contain." Bishop nodded slowly. "Exposure instead of elimination. Smart, but private terminals have biometric security, guard posts, cameras. We can't walk through the front door. No, we go under." Kane's finger traced the maintenance tunnel system beneath the airport. The same type of infrastructure that had existed at the resort. Every facility had them. Poorly monitored because security focused on threats from above, not below. "We infiltrate through tunnels, position near the cargo loading area, get visual documentation. If we're lucky, we extract without contact. If not," he didn't finish. They all knew what happened when luck ran out and denied territory. "I'm in," Ethan said immediately. Bishop took longer, older, more to lose. Pension, respect, a career built on following orders and doing things right, but also a conscience that wouldn't let him look away from children being loaded into crates. "Hell with it," Bishop muttered. "Always wanted to be an outlaw. Let's do this." They geared up in practiced silence. No FBI equipment, nothing traceable. Bishop had prepared well. Civilian tactical gear. Untraceable weapons purchased through contacts who understood discretion. Cameras with encrypted transmission capabilities. Everything a ghost team needed to operate in the shadows. Kane checked his phone. One message from Riley waiting. "Dad, where are you? Mom's worried." He typed back. "Doing something important. Tell Mom I love you both. Stay inside tonight." Her response came immediately. "Dad, you're scaring me." Kane's throat tightened. "I know, baby. Trust me one more time." He powered down the phone, removed the battery, dropped both in a drawer. Where they were going, phones were just tracking devices leading hunters to prey. The drive to Denver International took 90 minutes through increasingly sparse traffic. They parked in long-term parking under a fake reservation. Walked to the terminal like tired travelers. Split up once inside. Bishop toward the bathrooms. Ethan browsing airport bookstores. Kane buying coffee he didn't drink from a kiosk. They converged at a maintenance door marked "Authorized Personnel Only" near the baggage claim. Bishop's contact had provided an access card that shouldn't exist in any official system. The card worked. The door opened. They slipped through into concrete corridors lit by emergency lighting. The tunnel system spread before them. Miles of passages connecting terminals, baggage systems, fuel depots, machinery thrumming through walls. Somewhere above, thousands of travelers moved through brightly lit consumer spaces, never knowing what moved beneath their feet. Kane led them deeper. They moved in tactical formation despite the civilian clothes. Old habits, old training, muscle memory from operations in places where mistakes meant body bags. The path to private terminals took them past electrical substations, through storage areas filled with forgotten equipment, under runways where engine roars shook dust from ceiling pipes. 20 minutes in, voices echoed ahead. Kane raised a closed fist. Everyone froze, combat reflexes overriding civilian context. 2 security guards rounded the corner. Not airport staff, private contractors, body armor under jackets barely concealing the bulk. Radios, sidearms visible, professional bearing. They spotted Kane's team and hands moved toward weapons. "This area is restricted. Turn around and head back." Kane kept his hands visible and non-threatening. "Sorry about that. Maintenance sent us to check ventilation systems in Concourse B. Must have taken a wrong turn in these tunnels." The guards exchanged glances. One spoke into his radio. "Control, we have 3 subjects in Tunnel Section 7. They claim to be maintenance. Can you confirm?" Static. Then a voice filtered through. "Negative. No maintenance scheduled in that section tonight. Detained for verification." The guards drew weapons. Professional. Smooth. Men who'd done this before. "On the ground, now, hands behind your heads." Kane calculated angles and odds. 2 armed men, 10 feet separation, alert and trained. Fighting meant noise. Noise meant reinforcements. Reinforcements meant mission failure. He dropped to his knees. Ethan and Bishop followed his lead without question. Trust built across operations where following orders meant survival. The first guard approached with zip ties. The second maintained cover with his pistol. Careful, these weren't mall security playing dress-up. These were operators protecting something valuable. The first guard reached for Kane's wrist. Kane moved. Muscle memory faster than conscious thought. Grabbed the gun hand, twisted wrist, used the guard's own momentum to throw him into his partner. Both men stumbled. Ethan was already in motion, taking the second guard with a blood choke that cut flow to the brain. 8 seconds to unconsciousness. Bishop secured the first guard with the man's own zip ties. 10 seconds total. Both guards down, no shots fired, no alarms triggered. Yet. They dragged bodies into a storage alcove, took radios and access cards, left the men breathing but unconscious. 10 minutes before someone checks on them, Bishop said. We need to move fast. They ran. The tunnel sloped upward. Signs pointing toward private aviation appeared more frequently. Access doors every 100 feet. Security cameras in corners. Kane spotted blind spots through years of training in hostile environments. Found the gaps. Exploited them. A service elevator took them to ground level. They emerged in a loading area behind the private terminals. Through chain-link fencing, they could see tarmac. 5 private jets parked in designated spaces. 3 dark. 1 with crew preparing for departure. The 5th had activity. The Gulfstream. A cargo van backed up to the loading stairs. Men moving crates from van to aircraft. Each crate roughly 3 feet by 6 feet, child-sized. Kane's stomach turned. He raised his camera, started recording. Ethan moved to a different angle, capturing faces. Bishop documented the van's license plate, the aircraft's tail number, every verifiable detail. The loading crew wore no uniforms, no insignia, just dark clothes and professional efficiency. One turned toward the fence. Kane recognized him. Private military contractor he had worked with in Afghanistan. Decent operator, honorable in combat, now loading children onto a plane bound for hell. Ethan's whisper barely audible. I count 12 crates visible. Maybe 15 total, if each one holds 2 or 3 kids. 40 children, maybe more, maybe less. But any number above 0 was an atrocity. Kane's hands shook filming, rage building in his chest like pressure behind a dam. These weren't terrorists, weren't enemy combatants. These were Americans. Veterans, men who'd sworn oaths to protect the innocent. Now doing this. Movement caught his peripheral vision. A black SUV pulled onto the tarmac. Rear door opened. Someone stepped out into the harsh floodlights. Director Thornton. He walked to the cargo van with the casual confidence of a man who owned the night. Spoke with the loading crew. One handed him a clipboard. Thornton reviewed it, signed with a pen from his jacket, handed it back. Then he turned, looked directly at the fence where Kane hid in shadow 50 yards away. Their eyes met across the distance. Thornton couldn't possibly see him. Too dark, too far. But Kane felt the weight of that gaze like crosshairs on his back. Thornton spoke into his phone, gestured toward the perimeter. Security contractors began moving toward the fence line with weapons ready. They made us, Bishop hissed. We need to go, right now. Kane kept filming. 5 more seconds. 10. Getting every face, every detail, evidence that couldn't be denied. Gunfire erupted, not at them yet. Warning shots into the air. Federal agents, on the ground! They ran, back through the service door, into the tunnels. Footsteps pounding behind them. Shouts, more gunfire, real rounds this time. Not warnings. Sparks jumping off concrete walls where bullets struck. Ethan returned fire while moving, controlled 3-round bursts, covering their retreat with professional precision. Bishop pulled a smoke grenade from his kit, popped the pin, threw it back toward pursuit. Gray smoke billowed through the corridor. They burst through a different access point, found themselves in a cargo staging area. Forklifts, shipping containers, pallets stacked 20 feet high, a maze of industrial cover and concealment. Kane led them through, using memory of the layout he'd studied back at the cabin. More contractors appeared. These were ready. Body armor, rifles with optics and lights. Coordinated movement showing tactical training. Kane dove behind a shipping container. Ethan and Bishop took firing positions. The firefight was brief and brutal. Kane aimed for legs and weapons. Disable rather than kill. Old HRT training. Preserve life when possible, even in combat. But the contractors showed no such restraint. They fired to eliminate threats. Bishop took a round to the shoulder, spun hard, went down behind cover. Bishop! Ethan moved to help. Kane provided covering fire, burned through a magazine, reloaded on muscle memory while maintaining situational awareness. The contractors pressed their advantage. Too many, too organized. This was a losing fight. "We can't win this," Kane shouted over the gunfire. "Get Bishop to the car. I'll hold them." "Sir, no way. That's a direct order, Cross. Get him out. Get that footage to media. Finish the goddamn mission." Ethan's face showed the agony of the decision. Training versus loyalty, orders versus brotherhood. Then he grabbed Bishop, hauled the wounded man across his shoulders in a fireman's carry, ran toward the exit. Kane stayed behind, firing, moving, using every lesson from 20 years of combat across 3 continents. He wasn't trying to win, just buying time. Seconds for Ethan to reach the car. Minutes for Bishop to get medical attention. Hours for the footage to reach people who could use it. A round caught his thigh. He went down hard, crawled behind a forklift, blood spreading warm and wet down his leg. Not arterial spray. He'd live if he got treatment. Big if. More rounds punched through the forklift. They were flanking, professional tactics, textbook assault. He was surrounded with no exit. Kane ejected his empty magazine, reached for another, found only empty pouches. He was out of ammunition. The contractors closed in, weapons trained, shouting commands. Kane raised his hands in surrender. They zip-tied him with unnecessary roughness. One kicked his wounded leg. White-hot pain exploded behind his eyes. Kane bit down hard to keep from screaming. They dragged him back to the tarmac, threw him on the ground near the Gulf Stream. The cargo loading had stopped. The van was gone, the crates already aboard the aircraft. Thornton stood over him, looking down with an expression somewhere between disappointment and vindication. "You just couldn't let it go," Thornton said. "Couldn't follow orders and go home like a good soldier." Kane spat blood onto concrete. "Those are children. Those are assets. Complications from foreign operations. Kids whose parents died working for contractors in places that don't officially exist. Kids who'd end up lost in the system anyway. This way they serve a purpose. Medical research, pharmaceutical testing, contributing to projects that save American lives down the road." "You're insane. I'm pragmatic." "You should understand pragmatism, Kane. You made calculations in Caracas. Decided your family mattered more than your team. This is the same mathematics. These kids matter less than the research they enable. Cold calculus, cost-benefit analysis. Welcome to the real world where hard men make hard choices." Kane pulled against the zip ties. They held. "Where's Hale?" "Don't know. Don't particularly care. She's a loose end that'll be tied off eventually. Like you." Thornton nodded to the contractors. "Put him on the plane. He can disappear with the rest of the cargo." They hauled Kane upright, started dragging him toward the aircraft stairs. His wounded leg left a blood trail on pavement. Then headlights cut through the darkness from multiple directions simultaneously. Vehicles with FBI logos. Real federal response. Not contractors. Not corrupted units. Real agents. Thornton's face went white. "What the hell?" The vehicles surrounded the tarmac in a coordinated cordon. Agents poured out. Real HRT operators in full tactical gear. Leading them was Maya Chen, on crutches, knee heavily braced, badge held high in one hand. "Director Thornton, you are under arrest. Drop your weapons immediately." The contractors looked at each other. At Thornton. At the overwhelming force arrayed against them. Calculation, risk assessment. They dropped their rifles. Thornton's hand moved toward his sidearm. "Don't," Kane said from the ground. "It's over." Maya hobbled closer on crutches, each step clearly painful. "We've been broadcasting this entire event live. Ethan's footage from the loading dock. Security feeds from the resort. Your voice on recordings ordering termination of federal agents. 3 million people watching right now on every platform. You can't cover this up. You can't bury it. It's already viral." Thornton's hand fell away from his weapon. His shoulders slumped. 20 years of corruption ending under airport floodlights with the whole world watching. They arrested him. Read Miranda rights that everyone present had memorized from hundreds of arrests. Secured the aircraft, prevented it from departing. Medical personnel rushed to Kane. Started treating his leg wound with practiced efficiency. Maya stood beside him while medics worked. Her face showed pain from standing on the injured leg. but also something harder. Determination, purpose, the look of someone who'd found their mission. Bishop? Kane asked through gritted teeth. In surgery across town. They got the bullet out. He'll make it. Ethan stayed with him until we could roll. She paused, looked away. Sir, I need to tell you something. When I was in my hospital room earlier, after my surgery, Hale visited me. Kane's head snapped toward her. What? She came into my room, said she needed to make sure someone on your team knew the full truth. Gave me everything. USB drives with locations of every Shadowfall operation, names of compromised officials at every level, bank records showing money flows, everything we need to dismantle the entire network across 40 countries. Maya's eyes went hard as combat steel. She said Cole would have wanted his death to mean something. This was how she honored him, by making sure the organization that killed him couldn't keep killing others. Where is Hale now? Gone before I could alert anyone. Left a message for you, though. Maya pulled out a phone, played a video file. Lisa Hale's scarred face appeared on the small screen. Filmed somewhere with concrete walls. Location unknown. Marcus, if you're watching this, you did the right thing tonight. Saved those children. Exposed Thornton. Brought sunlight to things that thrive in darkness. That took courage. The kind Cole always said you had even when you doubted yourself. She paused. The scar across her face caught harsh light. I'm sorry for Caracas, for feeding you false intelligence, for every lie I was forced to tell under duress. But I'm not sorry for this operation. You needed to remember who you were before guilt broke you. You're not the man who abandoned his team. You're the man who saves people when it cost him everything. Remember that truth. Live by it. The video ended. Kane closed his eyes, thought of Riley safe at home with Sarah. Of 40 children being unloaded from that aircraft by agents who would protect them instead of ship them. Of Cole, who died thinking Kane was a coward. Of Hale, who orchestrated this entire nightmare to prove otherwise to everyone, including Kane himself. The medics loaded Kane onto a stretcher. As they carried him toward an ambulance, he looked up. Snow had started falling, first snow of winter. Clean white flakes covering everything, making the world new again. His phone buzzed in someone's pocket. Maya pulled it out, showed him the screen. Riley, Dad, I saw everything on TV. You're a hero. Everyone's talking about it. I'm so proud. I love you. Kane smiled despite the pain. Typed back with Maya's help since his hands were being bandaged. I love you too, baby. Coming home soon. Promise. This time he meant it. This time the promise wasn't broken by duty or fear or the ghosts of past decisions. This time he was truly coming home. The ambulance doors closed. Sirens wailed. They drove through falling snow toward Denver General Hospital, toward surgery and recovery, toward questions and debriefings and probably congressional hearings, but also toward Riley, toward redemption, toward something that might eventually feel like peace. In the distance, barely visible through heavy snowfall, a figure watched from a distant rooftop. Dark coat blending with night, scarred face turned toward the ambulance lights. Lisa Hale raised one hand in a slow, deliberate salute. Then she turned away, disappeared into the storm. The ghost who started it all. The ghost who gave Marcus Kane his life back by forcing him to remember who he'd been before Caracas broke him. The ghost who was already hunting her next target in a war that would never truly end. But back in the ambulance, Marcus Kane didn't know any of that yet. He only knew that for the first time in 5 years, the weight pressing on his chest felt lighter. The guilt that had been drowning him slowly for half a decade loosened its grip just enough to let him breathe. He'd saved people tonight, protected innocence, done what he'd sworn to do so many years ago when he first put on a uniform. The path had been twisted, the cost had been terrible, but the mission was complete. At least this chapter of it. Because Maya Chen sat in a hospital room across Denver with Ethan Cross beside her and Bishop in surgery down the hall. And on Maya's laptop, files from Lisa Hale spread across the screen like a roadmap to war. 17 more Shadowfall operations. Names of powerful people in positions no one would believe could be corrupted. Evidence of crimes spanning decades and continents. The work was just beginning, but tonight they'd proven it could be done. They'd exposed the darkness, brought it into light. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new enemies, new impossible choices. But tonight, in falling snow, they'd won. And sometimes winning one battle was enough to keep fighting the war. But back in a hospital room across Denver, Maya Chen sat in a wheelchair beside Ethan Cross. Bishop was in surgery 3 floors down. And on Maya's laptop, files from Lisa Hale spread across the screen like a declaration of war that would never end. 17 more Shadowfall operations. Names of senators, generals, corporate executives. People who moved in circles where laws were suggestions and morality was negotiable. Evidence of crimes spanning decades and continents. Maya looked at Ethan, both exhausted, both wounded, both understanding that what they'd accomplished tonight was just the opening move in a much longer game. There are children in facilities across South America, Maya said quietly, clicking through files. Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, not just trafficking victims. Test subjects for pharmaceutical trials that would never get approval stateside. Human experiments disguised as humanitarian aid. Ethan stared at the screen. Photos of compounds, shipping manifests, bank transfers routing through shell corporations and offshore accounts. The infrastructure of an organization that had operated in shadows for decades. How did one woman collect all this, he asked. 2 years of preparation, Maya said. Hale's been hunting them since she escaped that black site, building a network of informants, hacking classified databases, trading intelligence with other victims. This isn't revenge for her anymore. It's a calling. And she gave it all to you, to us, to Kane, to anyone willing to fight them. Maya closed the laptop, looked at Ethan with eyes that had seen too much too fast. She said something before she left my room. Said we had a choice to make. We could give this evidence to the FBI, go through proper channels, watch it get buried in bureaucracy while Shadowfall relocates and regroups. Or we could do what she's been doing, operate outside the system, hunt them in the dark where they live. Ethan was quiet for a long moment, thinking about Bishop and surgery, about Kane being loaded into an ambulance with a bullet wound, about 40 children who would have disappeared tonight if they hadn't broken every rule in the book. What did you tell her? I said I'd talk to Kane, see what the team wanted, but I already know what my answer is. Maya's voice went hard. I didn't join the army to watch children get sold like cargo. Didn't become an operator to follow orders that protect monsters. If the system won't stop Shadowfall, then maybe it's time to work outside the system. Ethan nodded slowly. We'd be fugitives, criminals, everything we swore to uphold. Or we'd be what Hale is, ghosts who hunt ghosts, operators who do the missions no one else can touch. Kane will never approve this. He's too by the book. Even after everything, he still believes in the system. Maya smiled without humor. Kane just walked into a hostage situation unarmed to save his daughter, then broke into an airport to stop a child trafficking operation while suspended from duty. I think his relationship with the book is more complicated than you realize. A nurse appeared in the doorway. Miss Chen, Commander Kane is out of surgery. He's asking for you. They made their way to Kane's recovery room. He was awake, groggy from anesthesia but conscious, his leg elevated and bandaged. Riley sat beside his bed holding his hand. Sarah stood at the window looking out at falling snow. Riley's eyes were red from crying, but she smiled when she saw them. Dad's going to be okay, she said, relief in every word. The doctor said the bullet missed everything important. Kane's voice came hoarse. Define important. Pretty sure my ego took a direct hit when those contractors zip-tied me. Sarah turned from the window. Marcus Kane making jokes while on morphine? The world must be ending. But her eyes held something other than sarcasm. Respect, maybe. Or the ghost of whatever they'd had before Caracas broke them both. Ethan and Maya approached the bed. Riley squeezed Kane's hand one more time, then stood. Mom and I will get coffee, she said. Give you guys a minute. They left. The door clicked shut. Kane looked at his team, read their faces with the instinct of someone who'd led operators through impossible situations. How bad is it, he asked. Bishop's stable, Ethan said. They removed the bullet. No permanent damage. He'll be on desk duty for a while, but he'll recover. And the footage? Viral, Maya said. 12 million views and climbing. Every news network running it. Congressional hearings already being scheduled. Thornton's in federal custody. They're tearing apart Shadowfall's financial networks as we speak. Kane closed his eyes, let out a breath he'd been holding since the resort. We did it. We did part of it, Maya corrected. She pulled out her laptop. Sir, Hale left us more than just the airport intel. She left us everything. She showed him the files. Kane's morphine-clouded eyes went sharp as he scrolled through evidence. Locations, names, operations, the full scope of what they'd uncovered. This is bigger than Thornton, Kane said. This is an entire shadow government. Contractors operating outside oversight. Officials taking payments from foreign assets. Human experimentation disguised as medical research. 17 active operations we know of, Maya said. Probably more we haven't found yet. Hale spent 2 years compiling this. Now she's handed it to us. Why? Because she can't fight them alone anymore. Because Cole died for nothing if this network keeps operating. Because, Maya hesitated, because she thinks you're the only person with the reputation and capability to actually stop them. Kane looked at the files, at the faces of children in compounds across 3 continents, at shipping manifests showing routes that would make them disappear forever, at the names of people who'd sworn oaths to protect and serve, now serving something much darker. We turn this over to FBI, Kane said. Let them handle it through proper channels. They'll bury it, Ethan said quietly. Not because they're corrupt, because the system can't handle something this big. Too many powerful people implicated. Too much classified information. It'll get tied up in courts and congressional committees for years while Shadowfall relocates and continues operating. So what's the alternative? We go rogue? Start operating like vigilantes? Maya leaned forward. We operate like Hale does, in the shadows, taking down operations one at a time, building cases that can't be ignored, using the evidence to force action from the people who can actually make changes. That's illegal. So is trafficking children. So is human experimentation. So is everything Shadowfall does. Maya's voice went hard. Sir, you saved 40 kids tonight by breaking every rule. How many more are out there? How many more could we save if we kept breaking rules? Kane was quiet. The morphine made thinking difficult, but he forced his mind to work. Thought about Riley's face when he'd walked into that resort. About the old woman sitting on a chair with a bomb underneath. About Bishop taking a bullet. About Ethan carrying him through smoke and chaos. About 3 SEALs who died in Caracas because he'd followed orders based on lies. Even if I agreed, Kane said slowly, I'm a target now, suspended, under investigation. I can't just disappear and start conducting illegal operations. Actually, you can, Maya said. Hale left instructions, identities, safe houses, financial resources. She's been planning this for 2 years. Knew she'd need help eventually. Knew it had to be someone with your skills and your access. She planned for me specifically. She planned for whoever survived the resort. Could have been you. Could have been someone else. But she bet on you, bet that the man who chose family in Caracas would choose justice when given another chance. Kane looked at them both. Young operators, entire careers ahead of them, asking him to lead them into darkness with no guarantee of success or survival. I need time to think. We have time, Ethan said. Shadowfall isn't going anywhere. They've been operating for decades. They can wait a few more days while you recover. But those kids can't, Kane said, looking at the laptop screen, at faces that haunted him already. How long before Shadowfall relocates these operations? Before they scatter because we expose Thornton? Unknown. Could be days, could be hours. Kane closed his eyes, the morphine pulled at him. Sleep beckoned, but his mind kept working through scenarios and possibilities. Through the weight of choices that shaped futures he couldn't see. When he opened his eyes again, Maya and Ethan were standing to leave. Sir, Ethan said at the door, whatever you decide, we're with you. If you want to turn this over to FBI and walk away, we'll support that. If you want to finish what Hale started, we're ready. Just say the word. They left. Kane alone with his thoughts and the quiet beeping of monitors and the distant sound of snow against windows. His phone buzzed. Text from a number he didn't recognize. The offer stands. When you're ready, call this number. We have resources, support, a network of operators who share your values. You don't have to fight alone. No signature. But Kane knew it was Hale. He deleted the message, but the number stayed in his memory. Sarah and Riley returned with coffee. Riley climbed back into the chair beside his bed. Took his hand again. Dad, she said quietly, I heard what they were talking about the files, about more kids who need help. Kane looked at his 13-year-old daughter, saw the same courage she'd shown in that resort, the same determination to do what was right regardless of cost. Riley, this isn't something we need to discuss right now. Yes, it is, because whatever you decide affects us, Mom and me. If you do this thing, if you help those kids, bad people will come after you, after us. I need to know if you're willing to put us in danger again. Sarah started to intervene, but Riley held up a hand. I need to hear it from him. Kane squeezed to her hand. Baby, I will never put you in danger if I can avoid it. But you're right. If I go after Shadowfall, they'll come after me, after everyone I love. So I need to know. If I did this, If I tried to help those kids, would you understand, or would you hate me for choosing strangers over your safety? Riley was quiet for a long moment, thinking through implications with maturity beyond her years. Finally, she spoke. When you came into that resort, you could have cut me free and left those other people, but you didn't. You said everyone goes free together or no one does. That's who you are, Dad. You save everyone or you save no one. So yeah, I'd understand, because you taught me that doing the right thing isn't always the safe thing. Kane's throat tightened. I love you so much. I know. And I love you too, which is why I'm telling you to do it. Help those kids. Mom and I will be okay. Sarah walked to the window, looked out at Denver lights through falling snow. When she spoke, her voice was quiet but firm. I divorced you because I couldn't handle loving someone who was never home, who chose missions over birthdays, who missed Riley's school plays because some crisis needed solving. She turned to look at him, but I never stopped respecting what you did, never stopped understanding why you did it. So if you're asking my permission, you have it. Riley and I will manage. We always do. Kane looked at them both, his ex-wife who understood him better than anyone, his daughter who'd inherited his courage without his guilt. I haven't decided yet, he said. I need to think about it. We know, Sarah said. But when you do decide, remember, we're proud of you either way. They stayed until visiting hours ended, until Riley fell asleep in the chair holding his hand, until Sarah gently woke her and led her out with promises to return tomorrow. Kane lay in the dark room, leg throbbing despite the painkillers, mind racing despite the exhaustion, thinking about choices and consequences, about the man he'd been and the man he could become. His phone buzzed again. Different number this time. I know you're thinking about it, weighing options, calculating risks. That's what good commanders do. But remember what I told you. You're not the man who abandoned his team. You're the man who saves people. Let that guide your choice. Hail again. Somehow always watching, always one step ahead. Kane typed back, how many operations are time sensitive? Response came immediately. 4 need action within the week. 2 are children being moved like we saw tonight. 1 is a pharmaceutical trial using orphans as test subjects. 1 is a labor camp disguised as a vocational school. All will scatter if we don't move soon. We, you and your team, me and my network. Everyone who's tired of watching evil operate in daylight while good people follow rules that protect monsters. Kane stared at the screen, at the implicit threat. If he didn't act, children would suffer. If he did act, he'd become everything he'd sworn to oppose. A criminal, a rogue operator, a vigilante outside the law. But maybe that's what the situation required. Maybe sometimes the system was too broken to fix from within. Maybe sometimes you had to burn it down and build something better from the ashes. He typed one word. How? Hale's response outlined a plan. Safe houses, false identities, untraceable communications. A network of former operators and intelligence analysts who'd seen the same darkness and chosen to fight it outside official channels. It was illegal, dangerous, would make him a fugitive if discovered, would destroy whatever remained of his career and reputation. But it would save lives, would stop monsters the system couldn't touch, would give purpose to the guilt that had been eating him alive since Caracas. Kane made his decision, typed the words that would change everything. I'm in. Give me 2 weeks to recover, then we start hunting. Hale's final message was simple. Welcome to the war that never ends. Cole would be proud. Kane deleted all the messages, powered off the phone, lay back against pillows and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow would bring questions, investigations, media interviews. The public version of Marcus Kane who'd saved 40 children and exposed a corrupt director. But underneath that public version, a different Kane was being born. The ghost who hunted ghosts. The operator who operated in shadows. The man who'd lost everything and found purpose in the wreckage. Outside his window, snow continued falling, covering Denver in white, making the world clean and new. But Kane knew the snow would melt. The stains would show through. The darkness would return. And when it did, he'd be ready. Because some wars were worth fighting even when the rules said stop. Some missions were worth completing even when the cost was everything. And some ghosts needed hunting by people willing to become ghosts themselves. Marcus Kane closed his eyes, drifted towards sleep, dreamed of children he'd never met but would spend the rest of his life trying to save. The real fight was just beginning. 2 weeks after the airport, Marcus Kane stood in his backyard watching Riley practice defensive moves. December sun hung low over Denver. His legs still hurt where the bullet had torn through muscle. Physical therapy 3 times weekly. The limp would fade. The scar would stay. Riley swept through the motion again. Balance, pivot, strike. She'd asked to learn the day after he got home from the hospital. Not from fear, from readiness. Keep your weight centered, Kane called. You're leaning too far forward. She adjusted. Tried again. Better. 13 years old and already showing survivor discipline. Kane felt pride mixed with darkness. She shouldn't need these skills. Shouldn't know how to break holds or identify exits. But she did. Because of him. Because of choices that created enemies. Sarah appeared with coffee. She'd been staying more often. Not reconciliation. A ceasefire that might become something else. They talked more in 2 weeks than 2 years. About Caracas. About the resort. About what came next. Ethan called, Sarah said. He and Maya want to meet tonight. Said it's important. Kane knew what that meant. They'd been analyzing Hale's files for 2 weeks. Prioritizing targets. Building plans. 4 operations required immediate action before Shadowfall scattered assets. What time? 8, Bishop's cabin. Kane nodded, watched Riley kick the heavy bag hung from the old oak. Same tree where he'd pushed her on swings at 6, before seals, before Caracas, before complications. You're really doing this, Sarah said. Statement, not question. Yeah, even though it means becoming a fugitive. Even though it risks us. Even though you could see prison. Especially because it risks you. These people don't stop. Thornton was middle management. Real power is still operating, and now they know I'm a threat. Kane looked at her. Only way to protect you is dismantling them completely. Every operation, every asset, every compromised official, until nothing's left to come after my family. Sarah was quiet. You're describing a war. One that's been going decades. I'm finally picking a side. The losing side, against unlimited resources and no rules. Maybe, but the right side, and I'm tired of being on the wrong one. Riley finished her set, walked over breathing hard, sweat despite the cold. How'd I do? Better. You're getting muscle memory. Soon it'll be automatic. Your body will just react. Like you at the resort, when those guards tried to tie you up. Kane smiled. Exactly. Riley looked at her mother, then Kane. I heard you talking about tonight, about Ethan and Maya. Riley, you shouldn't. I'm not a kid anymore. I was in that resort. I saw what those people would do. I know you're planning something dangerous. She breathed. I just want you to promise something. What? Promise you'll come back. Every time, no matter what. Promise you won't make me an orphan for some mission. The words hit harder than bullets. Kane pulled her close. Small, but strong. Brave, but needing protection. I promise I will always come back, always. She pulled away. Eyes too old for 13. Ethan made it back. Bishop made it back. Maya made it back. But not everyone always makes it back, do they? Kane thought about Vincent, Cole, Mateo, 3 brothers who trusted him, 3 ghosts haunting every decision. No, not everyone. That's why I do this right. Careful, smart, no hero moves, no unnecessary risks, just good planning and execution. And if it goes wrong, then I make sure my team gets out. That's what leaders do. Riley nodded, went back to the bag. Sarah moved closer. You can't promise what you just promised. I know, but I had to. She needs to believe I'm coming back. And when you don't, when this war claims you like it claimed those seals, what do I tell her? Kane had no answer. Just watched his daughter strike with increasing precision. Tell her I kept the promise as long as I could, he finally said. Tell her I died trying to make the world safer for her. Tell her anything except that I gave up. Sarah's hand found his. Squeezed once. Let go. Walked inside without words. 8 o'clock found Kane driving through mountain darkness toward Bishop's cabin. Empty roads, snow threatening but not fallen. His phone sat silent. New one, encrypted, untraceable. The old one destroyed, too much exposure. Cabin lights appeared through trees. Bishop's truck, Ethan's sedan, Maya's modified van with wheelchair ramp, team gathering for first real mission briefing. Inside, the cabin had transformed into operations center. Computer equipment, satellite imagery, tactical maps, professionals preparing for violence. Bishop stood when Kane entered, still favoring wounded shoulder. Sling gone, but careful movements remained. Commander, Bishop said, old habits. Just Kane, no rank, no titles. We're not FBI anymore. Ethan and Maya sat at the table. Both looked different, harder. The airport had burned away innocence. What remained was steel. Status? Kane asked. Maya opened a laptop. We've analyzed 17 operations from Hale's files. 4 require immediate action. Rest can wait while we build capabilities. She brought up satellite imagery, compound in rural Mexico, single-story buildings, chain-link fence, guards visible on thermal. Operation Mendoza, pharmaceutical trial facility, testing experimental drugs on children from border detention centers. Ages 6 to 14, current count is 23 kids. Kane studied imagery. Security? Private contractors, 12 on site, former military, well-armed but not expecting resistance, operating 3 years without interference. Why immediate action? In 48 hours, they're moving subjects to new location. Unknown where. If we lose them now, we may never find them. Kane looked at faces around the table. Bishop healing. Maya limited by injured leg. Ethan only one at full capability. Not enough for defended compound assault. We need more people. Hale provided contacts, Ethan said. Former operators working similar missions. She's built a network over 2 years, all vetted, all motivated, all willing to operate outside channels. How many? 6 can reach Mexico in 24 hours. Combined with us, 9 operators. Not ideal, but workable. Kane shook his head. Maya can't go. Neither can Bishop. You're recovering. The hell I can't, Bishop said. I can shoot, think, lead. This is what I signed up for. You signed up to rescue hostages with FBI support, not illegal operations in foreign countries without backup. Same mission, different uniform. Bishop leaned forward. Kane, you need experienced leadership. Ethan's good, but not ready to run this complexity. Neither are Hale's people. We don't know them. Don't know how they operate under pressure. You need someone you trust. Kane wanted to argue, but Bishop was right. Complex operations required experienced leadership. Trust built over years. Fine, but Maya stays. Coordinates from Overwatch, manages communications and intelligence. Maya started to protest, but Kane held up a hand. This isn't about capability. It's about smart asset deployment. We need someone running technological side, someone who can hack security, monitor communications, guide us real time. That's you. Maya's jaw tightened but nodded. Then I need better equipment. Satellite access, proper encryption, hardware for serious penetration work. Make a list. Hale's funding this. Whatever you need. With what money? 2 years of careful theft from Shadowfall accounts. Small amounts. Untraceable. Building a war chest for this. Kane looked at them. Understand what we're doing. Theft. Breaking and entering. Assault. Kidnapping if lawyers spin it. We get caught. There's no government backing. No lawyers. No diplomatic immunity. We're alone. We know, Ethan said quietly. We talked before you arrived. We know the risks. We're going anyway. Kane felt something loosen, fear maybe, or loneliness carried since Caracas. He wasn't alone, wasn't leading people ordered to follow. These were volunteers, true believers, brothers and sisters choosing this fight with eyes open. Then plan properly. Maya, I need complete layouts. Guard rotations, entry and exit points. Ethan, coordinate with Hale's people. I want backgrounds on every operator. Bishop, build tactical plan. 3 approaches, covert infiltration, direct assault, hybrid. We choose based on conditions. They scattered to tasks. Kane stood at window looking at darkness and mountains in the vast, complicated world bringing him to this moment. His phone buzzed at unknown number. Good luck in Mexico. The children have been waiting for someone to care. You're giving them hope. Cole would approve. Hale, always watching, always ahead. Kane typed back. After this, we meet, face to face. I have questions. Response immediate. When you're ready, I'll find you. Phone silent. Kane pocketed it. Turned back to his team. Ghosts who hunted ghosts in a war most didn't know existed. 48 hours later, Kane lay in Mexican dirt 200 yards from compound fence. Night vision turned the world green. Ethan beside him. Bishop positioning assault team east side. Maya's voice in earpieces from El Paso Hotel running Overwatch. Thermal shows 12 guards as expected, Maya reported. 6 on patrol, 4 in main building, 2 in guard shack. No routine changes past 6 hours. Kane studied facility through scope. Single-story buildings, chain-link fence, lighting designed to prevent outside approach. But designers hadn't accounted for professionals who'd spent careers infiltrating defended positions. Ghost 1, this is Shadow Lead. Status? Ghost 1 in position. Male voice. Controlled. Professional. One of Hale's operators. Kane didn't know his real name. Didn't need to. Recommended with successful extraction record across 3 continents. Ghost 2 in position. Female, former Marine Raider. Demolitions expert. Ghost 3 in position. Male. Calm despite tension. British accent. Former SAS. 6 operators from Hale's network positioned around compound. Plus Kane, Ethan, Bishop. 9 total against 12 guards and whatever response might be called. Bishop status? Assault team ready. Charges set on east fence, waiting on your mark. Kane breathed slowly. This was it. Theory becoming reality. Plans meeting chaos. Good intentions colliding with hard men defending evil for money. Maya, final count on subjects. Brief pause. 23 thermal signatures in detention building. All small, clustered together, 2 rooms. 23 children, 6 to 14 years old, taken from asylum-seeking families, used as test subjects for drugs never getting FDA approval. Treated like laboratory equipment. Kane's hands tightened on rifle. All teams, we go into 60 seconds. Assault team breaches east fence and engages guards. Extraction team enters through medical building and secures subjects. I want this clean, fast, minimal casualties. These guards are contractors doing a job. They don't know what's really happening. Disable when possible. Kill only when necessary. Copy. Kane counted down. 50, 40, 30, heart rate controlled, breathing even. Years of training overriding adrenaline. At 10 seconds, he and Ethan moved. Low crawl through scrub, heading for north fence where thermal showed blind spot between patrol routes. 0. Explosions rocked east fence. Bishop's team moving. Gunfire erupted. Controlled bursts. Professional discipline. Assault creating noise and chaos. Kane reached fence. Ethan cutting chain link with bolt cutters. 30 seconds. Gap opened. They slipped through. Sprinted across open ground toward medical building. 50 yards. 40. 30. Guard rounded corner. Kane fired twice. Suppressed rounds. Guard went down clutching leg. Not dead. Just out of fight. Ethan stacked on door. Kane took position. They moved like they'd trained together for years. Muscle memory. Shared language of operators understanding violence. Door opened under Ethan's breaching charge. They flowed inside. Hallway. Doors both sides. Medical equipment visible through windows. Empty. Staff fled when shooting started. Maya, guide me. Detention building is south, through courtyard. 2-story structure, subjects on 2nd floor. Kane and Ethan moved through medical building. Checked corners. Cleared rooms. Professional. Thorough. Each room told a story of horror. Medical tables with restraints. IV stands with unknown substances. Charts documenting reactions and dosages. Children reduced to test subjects. Inventory numbers instead of names. Kane's jaw tightened seeing it. This was why they fought. This was what Shadowfall enabled. Children suffering in silence while powerful people profited from their pain. Ethan paused at one room. Sir, look at this. Kane entered. Saw photographs on a bulletin board. Before and after shots of children, documenting physical changes from experimental drugs. Some showed severe reactions, rashes, swelling, worse. Notes below each photo in clinical language that dehumanized suffering into data points. Burn it all, Kane said quietly. When we extract, I want every piece of evidence destroyed. They don't get to rebuild this. Ethan nodded, understanding, sharing the rage that came from seeing evil documented so casually. They emerged into courtyard. Gunfire echoed from east. Bishop's team keeping guards occupied. Detention building stood before them. Lights on, windows barred. Children trapped inside wondering if rescue would ever come. Kane's earpiece crackled. Shadow Lead, this is Ghost 1. Problem. Thermal shows vehicle convoy approaching south. 3 trucks, 15 to 20 heat signatures, ETA 4 minutes. Response force. Someone called backup. Bishop, how long until you secure east perimeter? 2 minutes. 4 guards down, 2 still fighting. Finish them and fall back to extraction point Alpha. We have incoming. Kane and Ethan reached detention building. Door locked. Electronic keypad. Maya's voice calm and certain. Give me 30 seconds. Hacking their system. They waited. Exposed. Watching South Road for headlights. Bishop's gunfire intensifying, then stopping. East perimeter secured. Click. Lock disengaged. You're in. They entered. Stairway ahead. Kane took point. Upstairs, weapon ready at top hallway. Two doors, both locked. Breaching. Ethan placed small charges. They stacked away from blast zone. Charges blew. Door swung open. First room, 12 children huddled together. Ages 7 to 13 maybe. Some crying, all terrified. They'd heard explosions, gunfire, thought they were under attack. English? Kane asked. Anyone speak English? Girl maybe 11 raised her hand. I speak English. Tell them we're here to rescue them. They need to come with us right now. Tell them we're the good guys. She translated rapid Spanish. Children's faces shifted from fear to desperate hope. They stood, moved toward door. Ethan already in second room. 11 more kids. Same range, same terror turning to hope. Kane counted. 23 total, just like Maya said. All subjects secure, beginning extraction. Shadow lead, convoy is 2 minutes out. Maya's voice carried urgency. You need to move. Kane led children downstairs, out into courtyard, toward north fence where they'd entered. Ethan bringing up rear, making sure no one fell behind. Gunfire erupted from south. Convoy arriving, new guards deploying, fresh opposition. Ghost teams, engage convoy. Buy us time. Hale's operators open fire from concealed positions, pinning reinforcements, creating chaos. Doing what professionals did when outnumbered. Kane reached fence, started pushing children through gap, one at a time, counting, making sure all 23 made it. Girl who spoke English was last. Paused at fence, looked back at Kane. Thank you. Simple words, massive weight. Run to the vehicles. The people there will protect you. Go. She went. Kane and Ethan followed. Behind them, firefight intensified. Ghost teams falling back under pressure. Convoy deploying in force. Reached extraction vehicles. 2 vans, civilian models, nothing tactical. Bishop already loading children. Everyone accounted for? Kane did final count. 23 children, 9 operators, all present, all breathing. Everyone's here, let's move. Vans pulled out, heading north on dirt roads. Behind them, compound burned. Ghost 2 had placed incendiary charges in medical building, destroying evidence, making it harder for Shadowfall to rebuild. Maya's voice steady despite chaos. You have pursuit, 2 vehicles from convoy, closing distance. Kane looked back, headlights gaining. Vans weren't built for speed, couldn't outrun pursuit vehicles on open road. Options? 3 miles ahead, there's Highway Junction. I can guide you to checkpoint, U.S. Border Patrol. They'll provide sanctuary once you cross. And if we don't make 3 miles, then you fight and probably lose. Those pursuit vehicles have heavy weapons. Your vans are unarmored. Kane looked at children, 23 faces showing exhaustion and relief and residual fear. They'd been rescued. They'd survived. Couldn't die now because of vehicle limitations. Ethan, take the wheel. Bishop, get in second van and prepare to return fire if they close. I'm going to slow them down. Sir, you can't. That's not a request. Get these kids to safety. That's the mission. Kane grabbed red rifle. Opened van's rear doors. Pursuing vehicles 400 yards back. Closing fast. He took aim. Breathing steady, letting van's movement settle into rhythm. Fired. Round took out lead vehicle's front tire. It swerved. Slowed. Second vehicle pulled around. Kane fired again. Headlight shattered. Then radiator. Steam erupted. Vehicle fell back. But more lights appeared in distance. Shadowfall wasn't giving up. Calling everything they had. 2 miles to border. Stay on this road. Vans pushed engines hard. 60 miles per hour on dirt. Dangerously fast. Necessary. Kane kept firing. Methodical. Professional. Destroying engines and tires. Creating obstacles. Buying seconds turning into minutes. 1 mile. Pursuing vehicles falling back. Damaged. Unable to maintain pursuit. But new ones kept appearing. Fresh units joining chase. Half mile. I can see checkpoint. They're setting up barriers. They know you're coming. How? Kane wondered. Then realized. Maya called ahead. Reported kidnapping. American citizens under pursuit by cartel forces. Border Patrol would have to respond. Checkpoint appeared. Barriers across road. Armed agents taking position. Vans didn't slow. Crashed through barriers. Screeched to stops on American soil. Pursuing vehicles stopped at border. Couldn't cross. Couldn't engage U.S. agents. Turned around. Retreated into Mexican night. Border Patrol agents swarmed vans. Weapons ready. Demanding identification and explanations. Kane stepped out. Hands raised. My name is Marcus Kane, former FBI. These children were kidnapped from detention centers and used in illegal medical experiments. They need protection, medical attention, and someone to believe their story. Lead agent looked skeptical, then looked at children, at their faces, at medical tracking bracelets on wrists, at fear and relief and trauma written in their eyes. Get them inside, medical team, get up here. And someone call FBI headquarters. Tell them we have a situation. 6 hours later, Kane sat in Border Patrol interview room. They'd separated the team. Standard procedure, make sure stories aligned. Check for trafficking. Door opened. Woman entered, late 40s, hard eyes, FBI credentials around neck. Marcus Kane, interesting night. I've had better. She sat across from him. Open file. 23 children recovered from facility in Mexico. All match missing persons reports from detention centers across Texas and Arizona. All show signs of forced medical procedures. Blood draws, injections, biopsies. She looked up. Someone was using them as test subjects. That's what I told your colleagues. Yes, and your colleagues corroborate, as do the children. The ones who can talk. Some are too traumatized. She paused. But here's my problem. You're suspended, under investigation for Aspen and Denver International. Yet you organized and executed cross-border rescue with military precision. Want to explain? Kane met her eyes. No, I don't think I do. You understand you've committed multiple felonies. Illegal border crossing, weapons violations, assault, destruction of property. Mexico's filing complaints through diplomatic channels. I understand, and I don't care. Those kids are alive. They're safe. They'll heal. That's all that matters. Agents studied him, then closed file. Off the record? You did the right thing. Those children were victims of an operation that should never have existed. The facility you destroyed was connected to people we've been trying to prosecute for years. Your raid gave us evidence we couldn't get through official channels. So you're not arresting me? I should, but I won't. Partly because you're a hero whether you want to be or not. Partly because the children back your story. And partly because arresting you creates complications my superiors don't want right now. She stood, walked to door, paused. Kane, next time you decide to conduct illegal operations in foreign countries, give us a heads up. We might be able to help. She left. Kane sat alone, exhausted, wounded, alive. Phone buzzed. Maya. All team members released. 0 casualties. 23 children on our road to medical facilities. Mission success. Below that, another message. Different number. Well done. First operation complete, but urgent business remains. Senator Coleman. He's being confirmed in 5 days. Call me. Hale, always watching, always pushing. 3 weeks later, Kane stood before closed congressional committee. Classified hearing, no media, no public record, just senators and intelligence officials asking questions about Shadowfall and Caracas. He told truth. All of it. His manipulation of intelligence to justify evacuation. His guilt over 3 dead SEALs. His decision to operate outside channels because official channels protected monsters. They listened, asked questions, took notes. At end, committee chairman spoke. Mr. Kane, this committee finds your actions in Caracas to be serious breach of protocol call that contributed to deaths of 3 service members. However, we also recognize mitigating circumstances and your subsequent efforts to combat Shadowfall. Kane waited for the hammer. We're recommending you accept demotion from commander to special agent. You'll retain FBI position, but in reduced capacity. Security clearance suspended pending review, and you'll undergo psychological evaluation before returning to active duty. Not prison, not dishonorable discharge. A slap disguised as punishment. I accept the committee's recommendation. Good. This hearing is adjourned. Kane walked out into Washington, D.C. winter. Snow falling gently. City preparing for holidays and new beginnings. Phone rang. Riley. Dad, are you okay? Is it over? I'm okay, baby. It's over. I'm coming home. For how long? Good question. He'd accepted punishment. But Hale had been insistent about Coleman. Urgent threat. Narrow window. For Christmas. I promised you Christmas, and I'm keeping that promise. Really? You mean it? I mean it. Relief in her voice. Joy. I'm making you snowman pancakes. Your favorite. Kane smiled despite wait. I can't wait. Flight to Denver left at 6. He'd be home by midnight. Riley would be asleep, but he'd check on her anyway. Watch her breathe. Remember why he fought. At gate, woman sat reading newspaper. Dark coat, scarf covering most of face. She lowered paper as Kane approached. Scarred face, cold eyes that had seen hell. Lisa Hale, we need to talk. Not here. Then where? Kane looked at boarding pass, flight 447 to Denver, to Riley, to home, to the promise he'd made. I'm getting on that plane, going home to my daughter for Christmas. You can talk to me after. Not before. Hale's expression hardened. Coleman can't wait. He's being confirmed in 5 days. Once he chairs Intelligence Committee, Shadowfall becomes untouchable. Then you'll handle it without me. I can't. This requires your access, your relationship. You work together on counterterrorism. He trusts you. Trusted. Past tense. After Aspen in the airport, I doubt he trusts anyone connected to me. Hale pulled out phone, showed Kane photographs. Coleman meeting with known Shadowfall operatives. Accepting envelopes, offshore account statements, 15 years of corruption documented. We expose him before a confirmation, or we lose our best chance to hurt Shadowfall. Kane looked at evidence, then at gate, flight boarding. After Christmas, he'll be confirmed before Christmas. Then find another way. There is no other way. Coleman or Shadowfall wins. Kane felt weight of impossible choices. Riley waiting at home. 23 children saved because he'd acted. Thousands more who would suffer if Coleman got that committee chair. Christmas morning with Riley, non-negotiable. But I'll handle Coleman after. December 26th. That gives us 3 days before confirmation. Hale's eyes narrowed. That's extremely close. That's my offer. Take it or handle Coleman yourself. Long pause. Then Hale nodded. Fine, but the second Christmas is over, we move, no delays. Kane boarded, found his seat, closed his eyes. Tomorrow he'd be home. Tomorrow he'd make snowman pancakes. Tomorrow he'd keep one promise. And the day after, he'd break another. Riley woke Christmas morning to find her father in kitchen making snowman pancakes. She ran to him. Hugged tight. You came, you kept your promise. Kane held her. Memorized the feeling. I keep my promises when it matters most. They spent the day together. Opening presents, watching movies, being normal, being family. Everything Kane had sacrificed to protect. But phone kept buzzing. Messages from Hale, updates on Coleman, reminders that time was running out. By evening, Riley noticed. You have to go, don't you? Kane wanted to lie, but she deserved truth. Yeah, tomorrow morning. Something urgent. More urgent than Christmas? Nothing's more urgent than you. But there are people who need help. Kids like those in Mexico. And if I don't act now, they'll suffer. Riley was quiet, then hugged him again. I understand. Just come back. I will, I promise. Another wait. December 26th, 4 a.m., Kane left Denver, drove toward Boulder, toward Coleman's ranch, toward confrontation that would determine whether Shadowfall stayed hidden or crashed into public light. Team already in position, Ethan watching perimeter, Maya monitoring communications, Bishop on standby for extraction if things went wrong. Kane approached ranch house alone, picked lock, entered silently, found Coleman in study, drinking, alone. Coleman looked up. No surprise, just resignation. I wondered when you'd come. Kane closed door. You know why I'm here. The confirmation. You want me to withdraw. Coleman gestured at his screen. I've been reading about your Mexico operation. 23 children, impressive, reckless, but impressive. Those children are alive because someone acted. How many have died because you looked away? Coleman's face hardened. You don't understand what you're threatening. Shadowfall isn't corruption. It's infrastructure. It's how things get done when laws prevent necessary action. By trafficking children. By running torture facilities. By doing what needs doing, you've made hard choices. Sacrifice for greater good. How is Shadowfall different? Because we had rules, laws, people we answered to. Shadowfall answers to no one. Kane pulled out evidence. Photographs, bank records, Coleman meeting with operatives. 15 years of corruption. Withdraw from confirmation. Cooperate with investigators. Tell them everything, or I release this. Your career ends. Your freedom ends. Everything becomes ash. Coleman stood, walked a window, looked at his land, his legacy. The ranch had been in his family for 3 generations. His grandfather built the main house. His father expanded the property. And Coleman had used it as sanctuary between congressional sessions, place where he could think without Washington pressure. Now it would all end here. Either he'd cooperate and lose everything anyway, or he'd refuse and Kane would destroy him publicly. No good options, no way out that didn't end in ruin. You're willing to destroy me. Yes, even though it means becoming what you oppose, operating outside law, surveillance, blackmail, all the things you claim Shadowfall does. If that's what it takes, Kane's voice carried no hesitation, no doubt, just certainty that this was necessary, that sometimes good people had to use bad methods to fight greater evil. Coleman turned back. And if I refuse, then you burn. These files go to every media outlet, every oversight committee. You're in custody by morning. Your family loses everything. Your name becomes synonymous with corruption and child trafficking. Your grandchildren grow up ashamed to carry your surname. The detail hit Coleman hard. He had 2 grandchildren, both under 5, both innocent of their grandfather's sins. They'd suffer most from public exposure, lose friends, face bullying, carry stigma for crimes they didn't commit. That was the weapon Kane wielded. Not just Coleman's destruction, but the collateral damage to everyone he loved. Coleman studied Kane's face, saw determination, willingness to sacrifice everything. You really believe confession equals redemption? I believe you have a choice. Make it. Coleman walked to desk, opened drawer. Kane's hand went to weapon. But Coleman just pulled out thumb drive, set it on desk. Everything you want is here. Names, dates, operations, financial records going back 20 years. I kept it as insurance. Kane picked up drive. This better be comprehensive. It is. Senators, generals, executives, everyone enabling Shadowfall for decades. You'll still need to testify. I know, Coleman poured scotch. After the holidays, give me that much. Kane understood. You don't leave Boulder. Don't contact anyone in network. When I call, you come in immediately. Understood. Kane started toward door. The children in those files, Coleman said quietly. The ones who died. I think about them every day. Told myself their sacrifice served greater purpose, made living with myself possible. Kane stopped. And now? Now I don't know what I believe. Kane left. Walked to car. Thumb drive felt like bomb in pocket. Barely drove a mile when phone rang. Maya's voice frantic. Kane, we have problem. Multiple vehicles approaching ranch. Shadowfall response team. They know Coleman turned. Kane's blood went cold. How many? At least 20, heavily armed, going to hit ranch. Get Bishop and Ethan there. Now, we have to extract Coleman before they arrive. But even as he said it, Kane knew they were too late. He spun car around, raced back, arrived to find vehicles surrounding property. Gunfire already erupting, Bishop's team engaging from perimeter. Kane grabbed his rifle, moved toward house, suppressed fire, dropped 2 contractors, 3. Then saw movement upstairs window. Coleman, looking out, seeing chaos, understanding. Coleman opened window, looked directly at Kane across distance. Raised hand, not surrender, acknowledgement. Then 3 armed men kicked in his study door. Kane tried to move, tried to reach him, but Shadowfall's response overwhelming. 20 contractors against 3 operators. Through window, Kane saw it happen in terrible slow motion. Saw them grab Coleman, saw him fight back with surprising strength for a man in his 50s. Coleman landed a punch, knocked one contractor back, grabbed for a letter opener on his desk. Weapon against guns. Futile but defiant. The lead contractor didn't hesitate. Raised his weapon, sighted on Coleman's head. Coleman stopped fighting, stood straight, looked out window one last time, found Kane's eyes across the distance, held his gaze. In that moment, Kane saw acceptance. Coleman knew this was coming. Knew Shadowfall wouldn't let him testify. Knew cooperation meant death. He'd made the choice anyway, given Kane the evidence. Tried to do one good thing before the end. The muzzle flash lit the room. Coleman's body jerked once, then fell out of sight below the window frame. Professional execution, clean headshot. The kind contractors learned in military training. No suffering, just immediate termination. Kane wanted to look away, couldn't, had to witness, had to remember. This was his fault, his delay. His choice to prioritize Christmas over mission had given Shadowfall time to respond. Then house exploded, multiple charges, professional demolition, fire blooming from every window, destroying body, destroying evidence, destroying any trace that Senator Lawrence Coleman had died trying to do right. Kane stood frozen, watching Coleman's legacy burn, watching another good intention turn to ash. Phone buzzed. Hail. Shadowfall knew about Coleman's cooperation before you approached him. They were waiting, using him as bait. I tried to warn you, but you were focused on keeping Christmas promises. This is the cost of hesitation. Remember it. Kane felt sick. His fault, his delay, his need to keep one promise had cost Coleman his life. Bishop appeared at shoulder. Sir, we need to go. More units coming. Kane didn't move, kept watching fire. Sir, Bishop grabbed him, pulled toward vehicles. We mourn later. Right now, we survive. They extracted under fire. Lost one of Hale's operators. Ghost 3, British SAS veteran, died covering withdrawal. Back at Safe House, Kane sat in silence. Thumb drive on table, evidence Coleman died protecting. Ethan spoke. It's not your fault. It is. I delayed. Put family before mission. Coleman paid. You're human. You wanted Christmas with your daughter. And that humanity got a man killed. No, Maya said firmly. Shadowfall killed him. Not you. They've been watching Coleman for months. This was inevitable. Kane looked at Drive. Then we make his death mean something. We use this. Expose everyone. Burn Shadowfall to ground. That's the plan, Bishop said. But first, analyze what's on it. Make sure it's real. Maya plugged in Drive. Open files. Expression changed. It's real. All real. Names, evidence, operations across 40 countries. This is everything. Then we release it. Tonight, all of it. They work through night, uploading files, sending evidence, contacting journalists. By dawn, first stories broke. By noon, everywhere. Senator Coleman's murder. Shadowfall's network exposed. Names of powerful people who'd enabled atrocity. World caught fire with outrage. Marcus Kane sat in his daughter's room watching her sleep, knowing he'd kept his Christmas promise, knowing he'd broken every promise after. Riley woke, saw him. Dad, what's wrong? I'm sorry, baby, for leaving, for all of this. She sat up, hugged him. You saved those kids in Mexico. You exposed the bad guys. You did what you had to do. But I promised I'd always come back, and I almost didn't. But you did. You're here now. That's what matters. Kane held her, felt her strength. I'm going to be gone more. There are 16 more operations. I can't promise I'll always be here. I know, Riley said, but promise you'll try. Promise you'll come back when you can. That's enough. Kane pulled back, looked at her, 13 years old and wiser than he'd ever be. I promise I'll come back when I can, and I'll make every moment count. Deal. 6 months later, Kane stood beside Riley at Georgetown University. She'd been accepted to their youth leadership program for exceptional high school students. Rigorous selection process, only 30 students nationwide. She'd competed against hundreds of applicants, one based on merit and determination. He'd made it to the ceremony, flew back from an operation in Thailand with 6 hours to spare, landed, showered at airport, changed into suit he'd packed, raced through DC traffic, arrived as ceremony started. She saw him in the audience, her face transformed, smile that reminded him why every sacrifice mattered, why coming home was worth breaking mission protocol, worth the risk of leaving operations mid-completion. That smile made everything worth it. After the ceremony, Riley ran to him through crowd of proud parents. You came. I thought you might not make it. I promised I'd try, and I kept it. Kane pulled her close. She'd grown taller in 6 months, almost to his shoulder now, growing up too fast. Mom said you were in Asia, that it was important. Nothing's more important than this, than you. Sarah approached through the crowd. She'd remarried 2 months ago. Nice guy, accountant, stable, present, everything Kane couldn't be. But she'd invited Kane anyway, no bitterness, just acceptance that their daughter needed both parents. Thank you for being here, Sarah said, genuine warmth. It means everything to her. It means everything to me too. Kane looked at them both, ex-wife, daughter, family fractured but functional. They'd found a rhythm. He'd learned to prioritize, to choose moments that mattered over missions that could wait. Not perfect balance, but better than before. Later that evening, Kane sat with Riley on her bedroom floor like they used to when she was young, talking, processing. She'd grown so much in 6 months, not just physically but emotionally, maturity beyond her 14 years. The program director asked about my father, Riley said. What you do? I told her FBI. She seemed impressed. You didn't mention the rest? The illegal operations in foreign countries rescuing trafficked children? No, Dad, I kept that part out. She smiled, joking, but also serious. She understood operational security now, understood that some truths couldn't be shared. You're going to do amazing things, Kane said, with or without me here. I know, but it's better with you here. She leaned against him, still his little girl despite growing up. Mom's happy, did you notice? I did. Her new husband is nice, boring but nice. He'll never do what you do. Never save anyone, never risk anything, but he'll always be there for Tuesday night dinners. Kane heard what she wasn't saying. The comparison. The choice between exciting absent father and reliable present stepfather. You can love both, Kane said quietly. You don't have to choose. I'm not choosing. I'm just saying I understand now. Why you leave? Why you have to? There are kids out there who need someone to fight for them. Someone who won't give up even when it's hard, even when it costs everything. When did you get so wise? I have a pretty good teacher. Riley pulled back, looked at him seriously. Just promise me something. What? Promise you won't die doing this. Promise you'll be smart, careful, that you'll come home more often than you leave, that you'll see me graduate high school, college, maybe even walk me down some aisle someday. The promises piled up, each one a weight, each one sincere, each one possibly impossible to keep. But Kane made them anyway. I promise, all of it. I'll be there for the big moments, the important ones, and as many small ones as I can manage. Good. Riley stood, helped him up. Because I'm not done needing my dad yet. Later, Kane's phone buzzed. Hail. New operation. Ukraine, big one. 100 kids in bioweapons program. Need you. Kane looked at message, then at Riley's closed door. She was sleeping now. Peaceful. Safe. Dreaming of Georgetown and leadership programs and futures bright with possibility. He'd been home 6 months. Present for everything. Every game. Every conference. Every moment that mattered. Best 6 months of his life. Reconnecting with daughter. Rebuilding what Caracas had broken. But children waited in Ukraine. Always waiting. Always needing someone to care enough to act. Riley had told him weeks ago, you can be both. Father and warrior. Just come home between missions. She'd given him permission. Given him the answer he'd been searching for. Balance wasn't choosing one role over another. It was choosing both. Fighting when children needed saving. Coming home when family needed presence. Living in the tension between duty and love. Kane texted Hale, 2 weeks, I'll be there. But I'm setting new rules. I come home every month. Minimum. No exceptions. You work around that or find someone else. Response came quick. Agreed, the war needs you, but you need family. See you in 2 weeks. Kane set phone down, looked around Riley's room. Trophies from soccer, certificates from school, photographs of friends and family, evidence of a life well lived, a daughter thriving despite absent father. He'd learned the balance between duty and family, between warrior and father, between saving the world and being present for the one person who mattered most. The war continued, would always continue. 16 operations completed, thousands more waiting. Evil didn't sleep, didn't take breaks, didn't care about promises made to daughters. But now Kane fought differently, with boundaries, with purpose, with the knowledge that coming home wasn't weakness. It was the whole point, because promises to daughters were the ones worth keeping. Even in a war that never ended, especially in a war that never ended.